So I want to take a couple minutes and share with you a few things that are happening in my life right now, and some shifts in, I guess, things in the journey that are happening and are changing, and just some thoughts around three things really: disconnecting, goals, my goals, and then what's next, and what does that mean, and how will that maybe affect how I show up in the social media world per se. As many of you know, I posted a couple of different times over the last couple of weeks about how I disconnected off social for like a week. I was on vacation for a week, and I pretty much just disconnected and I didn't post at all. I barely even opened my social media accounts, and it was really nice. And what's interesting is when I went to get back on social media to get back out and engage with the world, I guess that's not just my immediate sphere of influence, I had little to no desire to even do so. I had no desire to post. I had no desire to put out the content, the message. I even had less of a desire to consume. But it's interesting because the consumption side it's like it can become so automatic. Like, you have to be very careful about just even like opening it, because you can just kind of get lost, right? You can get sucked into the ether per se of what's going on in everyone else's world, and what's going on in every single piece of news and every single piece of everything. Like, we have access to so much information now. It can be pretty daunting, and it also can be honestly just distracting. But I got back on, and I saw an article, and so I made a comment that I usually wouldn't make, just about my thoughts and my ideas about this article that let's just say, big news outlet had posted. I will say I don't subscribe to any major media news outlet. I think that all of them are a joke. But I saw an article, and I felt compelled to say something. And so I just added my 2 cents. It was, in my mind, very soft approach. Wasn't really confrontational. I was basically just saying, let's be careful with polarization. This is all I pretty much said. And it was so interesting to see the responses that comment got. Some people were very angry. Some people just wanted to debate it. Nobody commented really anything kind. Not that I want somebody to comment something kind to me. I just thought it was interesting that you have all these people sharing their thoughts and ideas. So I jumped in, shared my thought on it. Basically, it was just a word of caution. And people's reaction was very interesting. And so that got me thinking about how, when we're exposed to emotional reactions and responses constantly, all the time, maybe in our physical life, but especially in our social media life, we really have to be careful about how we are showing up, right? How we are responding, how we are reacting, how we are being proactive versus reactive, especially on social media, but really in life. And it just got me thinking a lot about this idea of my message and what I'm wanting to share, and what I want you to learn from me, or me to learn from you. Our interactions, our conversations, our connection, it should drive us both to grow. It should drive us both to change. It shouldn't, I would hope it wouldn't drive us to hate. I would hope that it wouldn't drive us to be more disconnected in real life, right? Because that's part of the problem, or the challenge that I see with social media, is there's this just this screen between me and you, and our interaction. If it's limited to just this screen, sometimes we feel safer saying and doing things that we wouldn't say or do in front of people. And that's one thing that I try not to do, is I try not to say anything that I wouldn't say to someone's face or in just a conversation. And so it really got me thinking about my goals. What are my goals? And what are my goals with social media specifically? How do I want to show up? Who do I want to be? What is my message exactly? How clear is it? Do you understand it? When interacting with me, do you know what I'm sharing? Do you know what I'm trying to say? And it just got me thinking about this idea of sharing the process of growth more. Like, I want to share like the growth that I go through more with you, because I feel like that if I can demonstrate it, then maybe I can teach it, and maybe something that you add to the conversation I can also learn from, and that'll be a part of that growth, and that'll be part of showing that process of growth and change and improvement and becoming the best version of who I want to be, or who I know that I can be. So there's a lot of things that I want to try, right? There's a lot of things that I want to do, whether it's business ideas or experiences, or just learning how to do new things. I really love the process of hands-on learning and learning how to do new things. I don't like things that are super tedious, but I do enjoy things that require me to become more skilled, like physically, like with my hands, things I can touch, and stuff that I can do physically. And so because of that, I got to thinking about if there's so many things that I want to do, and there's so many ideas that I have and experiences that I want to have, like, how do I just start sharing that more? Because each one of those experiences, each one of those things that I try and maybe I fail at, or maybe I don't fail, maybe I succeed at, every one of those experiences can be a learning opportunity for someone else. And in me sharing that, that could be something else that I learned from, right? And so one of the third areas for me in my goals that I really want to see improve is like this idea of men connecting, right? And men improving, and men changing, and really being leaders that are strong but kind, and tough but understanding. And this idea of that men have to be hard all the time, and they can't be open to receiving criticism is interesting to me. And I think that we could be challenged, all of us could be challenged, but I think specifically men could be challenged in hearing some critical, constructive feedback or criticism that could help with growth. And so some of the stuff that I may share may be a little bit more specific to men, and that kind of leads me into, well, what's next? And what does that mean exactly? Well, from a content standpoint, I want to share more from my heart and my thoughts, and just let them be what they are, right? I really do. I generally, when I approach something, I never approach anything with an intention to offend. And so sometimes it feels risky to me, which is interesting because I'm very risk averse. But around this subject and this topic, it feels risky to me to just say something or speak from the heart or the mind when I haven't really taken a moment to digest it. Because, again, I would never set out to purposely offend someone, right? So I may say something that I currently believe in this moment, but I also know that I may not believe that tomorrow. And I have to be okay with understanding that is growth. Like, changing my mind on something is growth. And being vulnerable enough to just put it out there for what it is currently is the challenging part for me, I suppose. But that's kind of what that means is, I'm going to start doing that more. I'm going to start putting that out there more, and just kind of seeing where that lands. And ultimately all that means is I'm going to grow, right? I'm going to change. I'm going to improve. It's going to be awesome. And I hope you stick around for the ride.